What song is that? Talking about you. Talking about us. There we go.
Don't worry about me, worry about you. Don't worry about them, worry what I do. It'll be a long time, but you ever see me again.
So I've been interested in Google's new music generation AI, MusicLM, and I wanted to make a video exploring some of its potential, actually mostly for my own benefit, but also to see as a music producer if I can use some of what it produces in a track of my own. If you're not familiar with MusicLM, it's pretty cool. It's kind of like ChatGPT. You type in a text prompt, maybe describing a genre or a feeling, and then it produces music based on your description. From what I understand, it's experimental, so it actually generates 2 audio tracks based on your description, and then you're supposed to pick the best one, and I guess that helps the AI improve. So I've been doing a little bit of research, and it looks like MusicLM is based on a larger AI dataset called AudioLM. In its current form, you can just use the text prompts to create music, but it looks like whatever Google is working on behind the scenes, you can actually hum in a melody or upload a melody track, and then it will create derivative works based on that and your text prompts. But it doesn't seem like this capability is out there in the public right now. So I did also just want to mention, but I think a lot of creatives, at least that I know, are mostly worried about the future of AI, particularly its potential to replace our role as creators in society and in the workforce. I find these discussions interesting, and I do recognize that at some point, whether it be through regulation or through social consensus, we're going to test or find the limits of where we're comfortable accepting AI into our daily lives. But I will say, and maybe it's just me being overly pragmatic, but I think AI offers a lot of potential for good, and I would rather take on the role of a hopeful explorer than a cynic. So I just want to dive into it. We're going to start with MusicLM and explore the sound palettes that it can produce, and then I'm going to drag some samples that we create into Ableton, mix things together, and see if we can't produce an original track using inputs from MusicLM. So I've had a little bit of experience with MusicLM already, and based off of what it produces, I think I want to see if I can create a lo-fi track. So to start out, we're going to try to get some atmosphere. MusicLM seems to really like pretty generic terms. I can't really get like tempo or highly specifics out of it for production, but if I kind of give it a mood or a sound or a feeling, it seems to be pretty good at that. So I want to kind of do maybe something meditative, something kind of introspective, maybe a little ethnic. Let's just see if I say meditative. So we're going to try that and see what it comes up with. Maybe something a little darker. I kind of like that, but I feel like there's too much tempo in it. Yeah, it's just too dark. Inspirational. I don't like the piano. Yeah, let's try this. All right. I think this is going to be kind of difficult based on my previous experience, but I want to see if we can get some drums out of it. The best prompt I found for that is just solo drums. When I start to try to put in genres, a lot of times it seems to want to create a finished track, even if I have solo drums or drums isolated in there. So let's just try solo drums first. Okay, obviously not going to work for lo-fi, but at least we are getting the drums by themselves with no other instrumentation. So let's go ahead and try lo-fi. Yeah. Yep, already has the instrumentation in there. Let's try hip hop. There we go. I want it slower, so let's just try slow down. It is interesting to me, like just adding extra stuff to the prompt, like pretty much solo drums, hip hop. I can get just drum tracks isolated by themselves, but I start to add more prompts in and it wants to add more instruments in. Let's try very slow. It should be easy to slow down in Ableton as well. Like that's kind of different. I kind of like that, to be honest. You know what? We're gonna try it. Okay, next, I need some sort of melody. I think a flute. I wanted to do some sort of ethnic influences. So maybe like a Japanese flute or an Indian flute, I guess. Let's just try this. Solo flute melody, simple. No way. Did you hear that? What song is that? Talking about you. Talking about us. What is that? Frick. What is it? Never See Me Again. I'm almost sure there was a reference to the melody there. There we go. I could be wrong. I'm probably goofing. It's a simple melody, but sounded a lot like it. It was just the cadence of the melody. It sounded so much like the Kanye track. It really just wants to make completed tracks. That's the difficult part. Had to do a lot of work to piece that together. What is the Japanese flute? Is it a shakuhachi or something? What is that? It's better than anything it's done so far. Let's try to find maybe some violin. See what it does with violin. Solo violin, slow, sad melody. Let's see what it gives me. It's not solo, but alright. So solo violin. I really want this to sound, I think, kind of Far East, you know. So, well, let's just try Eastern. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, I like this other one better. Okay, so we have some sounds. Let's just throw it in Ableton and see if I can't make something out of all of this. So I'm going to walk you through what I've done with the track from start to finish. I've tried to use as much of the AI as possible, and I'm kind of surprised with my results. To be honest, I didn't think I was going to be able to use any AI drums, but after experimenting with the AI, I was actually able to isolate some pretty decent lo-fi drums. Let me just play exactly what is the track that we've produced. So that's a pretty basic loop. Let me play it back with everything I didn't add. Yeah, so this is all AI tracks right here. Master effects taken off too. So you can tell basically the skeleton of the track is there. And that's all AI. That's the AI drums, that's the AI violin. We didn't use the flute, but we did use the ambient backing track, which is probably the most crucial part of this whole thing. It holds it together. So what I've added, let me just solo that. I added piano, I added electric piano, I added some ambient nature sounds, and I added bass. So that sounds like this. Let's dive into the AI part and see what we had to do to kind of make it work. So first of all, the drums. I mean, honestly, the drums are pretty messy, and if I was going to spend some more time on it, I probably would spend most of my time on the drums, maybe even layering some sounds on top of it. But given that it's a lo-fi track, it's kind of okay that it sounds messy, right? So We did a few things. First of all, it's one track. We slowed it down, so we loaded it in, we warped it, we found all of the note transients and made it fit the grid, stretched it out to kind of slow it down. But then what I did is I went ahead and doubled the track 3 times. Once for the kick, I kind of isolated the low frequencies, added this Waves or Vox plugin that is a gate, right? So that it makes kind of a gentle slope whenever the kick hits. That's basically a kick right there. Also added in this bass. It's a Waves plugin. It kind of boosts the bass for us because without it, it's kind of weak. Honestly, still too much resonance in the kick, but it works for this track. And then we went ahead and did the same thing for the snare. Just did a few things to kind of try to bring the snare out, and that's layered in on top of hats and snare, which is trying to cut out most of the bass frequencies that we can to make room for the kick, and then just EQ it a little bit to bring out the snare and the hi-hat. And that's our drums. Our ambient noise, we had to warp that, right? We had to stretch that to time. And then the only other thing I really did to this is I just cut out the bass frequencies so that it didn't clash with the bass that I added. And then the violin was fun. We were able to use little pieces of that. I really like this this violin riser that we designed. Had to transpose it to key. So this is transposed here up to semitones, and then this one is transposed up 14 semitones. So it's really just an octave apart. Like the sound that we got out of that. I do like that part. It reminds me kind of Inception. The nice riser and then a drop into the chord. And then we use this little piece. Had to time stretch that, fit it more or less to tempo. And then also we drop that 3 semitones, so the melody works with the key. Nice little tail melody for this lo-fi track, I think. So then the added tracks, the bass, just a very simple elongated bass sound there. Piano, almost really following what the ambient track wants to do, right? Some extra melody there, and the piano and the electric piano are doing the same thing. And then lastly, to just kind of fill in all the extra sound, added this sample of nature noises. That pretty much makes the track. And then lastly, all of the instrumental sounds are sidechained to the kick into the snare. So you hear that compression happening whenever those hit, which is very common lo-fi technique. So we got what we ended up with. So final thoughts, I have to say I was pleasantly surprised with some of the things Google's AI can do. I first started playing with it almost a month ago now, and I haven't messed with it in a number of weeks. And it seems like it's a lot better than it was previously. So I don't know if that's just the AI learning or if I was just giving better prompts today. But I do have to say there was a number of limitations. They seem to be designing the AI, at least right now, mostly to interact with non-musical people who just want to produce background tracks. I would like to see it produce music off of much more specific prompts such as key, tempo. I imagine we'll see that in the future. Right now it's not there, and it doesn't look like they're designing this AI specifically for that. I'm not sure I will use MusicLM very much in the future in my own production. It's just very time consuming with the prompt engineering that's required at this stage. Also cleaning up the tracks it produces. That being said, if you want to play around, maybe get some new ideas, I think it might be helpful to mess with Google's AI. Overall, I'll just say it's not really at the stage that it can produce useful tracks from a production standpoint, at least. Anyway, thanks for sticking through the video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and like and subscribe. This was kind of a different thing for me. I have a couple videos planned that are going to be showcasing some original music and arrangements of mine. I do want to experiment with this a little more. Maybe I'll do some more of these types of videos in the future. So if you like that, go ahead and follow me, and hope to be seeing you guys much more often. I almost want to end it right here. So if we did something like a